When my CEO wife saw me cancel all the documents, preparing to stand firm and confront her massive family corporation to the end, she finally realized that this live-in son-in-law standing here is someone she can no longer control. But when she saw the divorce papers I handed over, she just froze. It stated that I voluntarily leave with nothing, even giving up custody of our daughter. I spoke calmly. Our marriage has long been in name only. I don't want to maintain this broken relationship anymore. Sign it. It's good for both you and me. You and your mother both want Yi Shaming to be the Wen family's son-in-law. I'm just stepping aside for him. After speaking, I left this cage called home. I thought she would be sensible and sign the divorce papers. But unexpectedly, she tore up the agreement again. I was raised by the Wen family from a young age to be their son-in-law. 22, I married Wen Signing. At 23, Wen Signing and I had a daughter, Shen Xiao. Shen Xiao is very much like Wen Signing, always quiet and reticent. She never takes the initiative to be close to me. Last night, for the first time, she sought me out on her own. Dad, Uncle Shaming is sick. He's dying, and his wish is to marry Mom. Can you divorce Mom? Please. In that moment, I completely lost all hope in this mother and daughter. Then let's divorce. I'll grant their wish. The next day at breakfast, I voluntarily handed the divorce papers to Wen Signing, showing my sincerity. The words our daughter said, I thought about them all night. Since she likes Yi Shaming that much, then I agree to the divorce. At the same time, I will also give up custody of Shen Xiao, choosing to leave empty-handed. The assets that belong to us as a couple, you can transfer them all to our daughter's name. Consider it the child support I'm giving her. Wen Signing put down her coffee cup, looked up and frowned. Were you talking to me just now? I looked at her ear. The Bluetooth earpiece was still flashing. I realized that not a single word I just said had reached her ears. An intense feeling of helplessness rose in my heart. Every time I talk to her, what I get in return is this kind of indifference. For example, lately, she comes home every night smelling of ambergris. Our daughter once accidentally mentioned ambergris is Yi Shaming's favorite scent. I couldn't help but ask, who have you been seeing lately? Wen Signing just replied blandly, a friend. She didn't even bother to glance at me. I truly suspect, after 5 years of marriage, that she might not even know her husband's name is Shen Xinyan. This kind of life, I've really had enough of it. I flipped directly to the last page of the divorce papers and handed it to her. Sign it. It won't take much of your time. Wen Signing frowned and glanced at me. Just as she was about to open it, our daughter ran over. Mommy, wait a second. Are you going to play golf with Uncle Shaming? I want to go too. Seeing Wen Signing stand up, I firmly grabbed her wrist. Sign it. Wen Signing finally turned to look at me. A flash of surprise crossed her eyes. I guess she wasn't used to someone as spineless as me suddenly becoming tough. Our daughter urged, Mommy, let's go quickly. If we keep Uncle Shaming waiting, he'll get sulky and punish you. Wen Signing nodded. Okay. The next second, without even looking at the content, she took the pen and signed. The mother and daughter quickly walked away. I don't even know whether Wen signing without reading was because she trusted me or because she despised me too much. I picked up the pen. Beside Wen Signing's signature, I wrote down my own name. My hand couldn't stop shaking after signing. I took a deep breath, folded up the divorce papers, sent them to the lawyer I had contacted beforehand, then went upstairs to pack my things. I opened the wardrobe and looked, only to find a closet full of clothes, where none were to my liking, because no one knew that the me from before age 16, liked bungee jumping, liked racing cars, liked to laugh wildly and be reckless. But ever since marrying Wen Signing, I was taught rules and etiquette, to be humble and gentle, because what the Wen family needed was just a standard marriage partner. But even though I sacrificed my true self, I didn't receive any recognition, only mockery from Wen Signing's friends. They sneered that I was just a live-in husband, called me a fake, said Yi Shaming and Wen Signing were a better match. Thinking of these things, and looking at the clothes belonging to the Wen family's son-in-law, I suddenly felt an indescribable nausea. I couldn't hold back and rushed to the bathroom to vomit. After vomiting, I looked up, saw myself like a puppet in the mirror. I realized divorce was absolutely the right choice. I don't want to be suffocated to death in this cage. I want to break free from this cage and be myself. Finally, I pulled out a shirt from before I got married, called my best friend Zhu Ziwen to come pick me up. The Wen house is not my home, and the Shen family hasn't asked about me since I got married, so that's not my home anymore either. Zhu Ziwen arrived at the door very quickly. He looked confused. Why are you free to ask me out? Today is your birthday. Didn't you say a week ago that you wanted to celebrate with your wife and daughter? Hearing that, I froze, took out my phone and opened the chat history, only to discover I had indeed booked a birthday dinner a week ago. I even sent a message asking when signing out. Until now, she still hasn't replied to me. Before, I might have felt disappointed, but now I'm numb. Then Zhu Ziwen and I went to that birthday restaurant together. When we arrived at the restaurant and gave the birthday reservation number, the manager awkwardly refunded me. Sir, President Wen has booked the entire restaurant today. She wants to celebrate her husband's birthday. The young miss is also waiting for her father to arrive. We will compensate you double your previous deposit. Zhu Ziwen laughed and pulled me inside. No need for a refund. Standing right in front of you is President Wen's husband. But as we walked towards the center of the hall, The happy ladder of a family of 3 drifted from nearby. I saw Wen signing with Shen Saya, wishing Yi Shaming a happy birthday. Wen signing said happily, "I wish you peace and success." Shen Saya followed along. "I wish Uncle Shaming gets everything he wishes for, marries my mommy, and becomes my daddy." Watching them finish their wishes, the 3 of them sat down happily, seeing Wen signing's gaze, never leaving Yi Shaming, and seeing my daughter thoughtfully pouring tea for Yi Shaming. Married for 5 years, Wen signing doesn't even know when my birthday is, let alone celebrating it. I always took care of her at home. She never even poured me a single cup of water. Zhu Ziwen couldn't stand it anymore. He was about to rush up and demand justice for me, but I held him back. "There's no need. I've already signed the divorce agreement with Wen signing." Zhu Ziwen immediately took me his house. He gritted his teeth and cursed. "Wen signing is a terrible woman. Shen Sayo is an ungrateful little ingrate. For 5 years, you revolved around them 24/7. No job, no social life. I could barely get you out to hang out. Wen signing makes one phone call, and you're as happy as a child, running home to make hangover soup for her. When your daughter cried while weaning, you stayed up all night coaxing her with every bowl of milk. All that devotion and effort, only to be betrayed. Sinian, I know you must be hurting right now. If you want to cry, just let it out." Listening to Zhu Ziwen's rambling, I threw my head back and took a swig of wine. I can't cry anymore now, but I used to cry many times in the past. I'm a grown man, forced by Miss Wen to learn rules. When I complained to Wen signing, she ignored me, waiting for Wen signing on snowy nights. She wouldn't come home by midnight and wouldn't even tell me. Shen Saya had a fever in the middle of the night, calling Wen signing only to be hung up on. I also naively hoped for a loving marriage and a filial child, but they never saw me. It's been 5 years. I should have woken up sooner. After getting drunk, I fell into a deep sleep. Early the next morning, I suddenly received a call from Wen signing. She sounded like she just woke up, her voice raspy. "Where's the necklace I usually wear on Mondays? Where did you put it?" I blurted out. "In the first drawer of the dressing room." "What about the matching earrings?" "In the drawer below the necklace." After some back and forth, I suddenly realized, we are about to divorce. I want you to wake up early every day to coordinate outfits for Wen signing anymore, and I want you to wait for her to come home at midnight to serve her a bowl of stomach-soothing porridge at just the right temperature. Wen signing seemingly still hadn't noticed that I had already left our marital villa. I kindly reminded her, "Tell the maid to reorganize the dressing room for you. In the future, ask them if you need to find something. We're getting a divorce. It's not appropriate for you to call me just to find your things." After saying that, I heard Wen signing give a faint M. The sound of drawers opening came from the other end. I thought everything that needed to be said was clear. I was about to hang up when I heard Wen signing instruct, "For lunch these days, stew some seafood porridge and send it to the Wen Corporation CEO's office." Having said that, she hung up. It seems my words about the divorce still didn't sink in at all. I took a deep breath, so angry my fingertips were trembling, and promptly blacklisted Wen signing. Thinking for a moment, I also pulled out the number of Shen Saya's kindergarten teacher and blocked that too, but I missed blocking Mrs. Wen. So when I went out to get lunch, she blocked my car. She threw a stack of photos in my face. The photos were full of intimate shots of Wen signing and Yi shaming. "You have disappointed me greatly. Since you were 16, I have personally groomed you. Shen Xinyan, 10 years have passed. You are a man, yet why can't you control your own wife? If I knew you were this useless, I would have looked down on Yi shaming for being illegitimate and would have chosen him as signing's husband instead." The sharp edges of the photos cut my neck, drawing blood. When I was chosen as the Wen family's future son-in-law, many people in Jing City envied my good luck, but I lost my freedom at 16, living only to become the Wen family's son-in-law. I was suppressed to the point of suffocation. In 12th grade, I deliberately rebelled by dating early, making a scene in front of Wen signing. I thought she would call off the engagement, but she said nothing, and my father sent me to Nanda school that very night. Although I've only been married to Wen signing for 5 years, I've been controlled for 10 whole years. I've had enough of this life, told Mrs. Wen bluntly. Wen signing and I have signed the divorce papers. I don't need custody. I'm leaving with nothing. If you're not satisfied, you can find another son-in-law who suits you better. After speaking, I opened the door to get out. Mess. Wen was stunned for a second, then instantly flew into a rage, grabbing my wrist tightly. "Shen Xinyan, you dare!" Mess. Wen's sharp red painted nails dug into my flesh, stinging like needles. I slowly turned my head back, smiled and said, "Why would I dare? The Wen family's son-in-law was never my glory." I pulled up my sleeve, for the first time, exposing the crisscrossed old scars on my wrist to an outsider. Mess. Wen saw the twisted, centipede-like scars, and let go in horror. I just smiled faintly, stroking each scar on my wrist. I never wanted to be the Wen family's son-in-law. Whenever I couldn't escape, I would slash myself hard. Do you know that for the past 10 years, what I screamed in every dream? I screamed, "Want someone save me," but now I understand. The only one who can save me is myself. Only when I'm free to be myself can I continue to live. I finished speaking calmly and got out of the car. This time Miss Wen didn't stop me, but I couldn't suppress the gloom inside me. I need to let it all out, so I took out the dusty bright red supercar, floored the gas pedal and sped off, but perhaps I'm cursed with Wen signing. Just as I shot out of the intersection, I ran right into a Maybach with a quintuple 8 license plate coming the other way. It was Wen Signing's car. From the opposite car, Wen Signing's assistant quickly stepped out. I rolled down the window. The assistant was stunned when he saw me. I was surprised by his shock. After 5 years of marriage, people around Wen Signing had long formed a stereotypical impression of me. Gentle and humble, honest and simple. For someone like that to be racing cars, it's inevitably strange to them. I didn't explain anything, just handed him a business card directly. Please contact the insurance manager for the compensation amount. Then I hit the gas and left. The assistant quickly returned to the Maybach, reporting to Wen Signing. President Wen. The driver opposite was Shen. Wen Signing rubbed her temples and only coldly instructed, "Let's go." The assistant knew better and didn't ask further. But unexpectedly, 3 hours later, the couple crossed paths again. At that time, Wen Signing was signing a land development agreement with a partner and came to the racetrack in the suburbs where a racing competition was being held. Red sports car, radiating hormones and charisma, took first place. The racer stepped out, clad in a tight dark red racing suit, tall and slender, powerful and full of vitality, so eye-catching that it was hard to look away. Even Wen Signing showed visible surprise and admiration until the racer took off the helmet, revealing his face. The assistant kept exclaiming, "President Wen, here? Shen is actually this good at racing." Wen Signing didn't reply, but when she saw the women around, looking at that tall figure with fanatical eyes, she frowned slightly. When I felt Wen Signing's gaze, I didn't look up to greet her. Over the years, except for high-end elite parties, when we met, she usually pretended not to know me. So when the organizer from out of town introduced me and Wen Signing to each other, I also pretended not to know her and responded politely, "President Wen, I've heard much about you." Wen Signing remained expressionless. The atmosphere was awkward for a moment, until Shaming's voice came over. "Signing, are you done? If you're done, let's go back to the company to eat. I'm craving the seafood porridge made by your male nanny." Shaming stepped down from the Maybach, acting like no one else was there. He wrapped his arm around Wen Signing's waist. Shaming probably felt I wasn't worthy of being his rival, and even smiled at me. After they walked away, someone exclaimed, "President Wen goes to work and brings Yi along. Their relationship is really good." Wen Signing's assistant hadn't left yet. Hearing this, he looked at me with a weird expression. I guess he was thinking to himself, how can there be such a useless man? But I said nothing and left the racetrack too, then immediately called my lawyer, asking when I would get the divorce certificate. The lawyer told me, I have to wait another 7 days. It's okay. I've endured for 10 years. I can wait 7 days. But unexpectedly, just after I calmed myself down, I received a call from Wen Signing's assistant. "Here? Shen? President Wen asks when the seafood porridge will be delivered. Also, Miss Dao Dao's teacher says your phone is unreachable. Miss Dao Dao's craft project hasn't been sent in. Are you free to bring it over?" I then remembered, before Shensaya asked me to divorce her mother, I was watching a video on my phone, stitching her craft project needle by needle. When I left the house, that craft project was only half done. I looked up at the free clouds in the sky and spoke calmly. "Tell Wen Signing there is no more seafood porridge. I won't be delivering it in the future either, and I won't handle Shensaya's matters anymore. Don't look for me again." After speaking, I blocked the assistant's number 2. Back at the Wen Corporation, the assistant held the phone, looking awkward. "President, here?" Shen hung up on me. I called back but couldn't reach him. It seems he blocked me. "Why don't you try?" Wen Signing frowned, rarely taking out her phone. She scrolled to contacts and sent a message to the avatar labeled husband. "What kind of tantrum are you throwing?" The next second, a red notification appeared in the chat saying she was deleted. The user has enabled friend verification. You are not friends with him yet. The assistant saw Wen Signing's phone screen. The chat history on the screen showed the last message was from a week ago. He was surprised. I didn't expect Shen's birthday to be on the same day as Shaming's, so yesterday was Shen's birthday too. "President, didn't you give him a birthday gift?" Wen Signing was silent for a second. I didn't notice. "Help me send him a belated gift. You decide what to get." The assistant nodded in agreement. Before he could take out his phone to choose a gift, he saw Wen Signing already reviewing documents. He sighed and left the office. By evening I received the birthday gift sent by Wen Signing's assistant. I was quite surprised, but I refused to accept it. I don't know what Wen Signing is trying to express. My birthday has passed. What's the point of a gift now? Besides, my birthday wish for the last 10 years has been only one thing, and that is freedom. Wen Signing divorcing me has inadvertently granted that wish. I thought that during these 7 days waiting for the divorce certificate, I wouldn't have anything to do with Wen Signing anymore, but after the assistant left with the gift, I received a message from Miss Wen. "Shen Xinyan, I won't interfere with your divorce from Signing, but before you two are officially divorced, my granddaughter must not suffer any impact." How could Shensaya suffer any impact? She was the one who demanded I divorce her mother. Before I could reply, Wen's messages popped up one after another. Shen Xinyan, if you don't want the divorce to be affected, you must come to the old house this weekend to play with my granddaughter as usual. Wen Signing doesn't like crowds. After getting married, we moved out of the old Wen house and into our marital villa after she gave birth to Shen Saya. We regularly took our daughter back to the old house every weekend. Today happens to be Friday. Usually on this day, I always pick up Shen Saya from kindergarten and take her to the old house. Wen Signing is very busy. She usually doesn't come home before 10 p.m. This time, I went straight to the old house. Unexpectedly, when I arrived, Wen Signing was already home. I ignored her completely and went up to the second floor, but Wen Signing blocked my way. She even asked me out of nowhere if I liked my birthday gift. I looked at her suspiciously. Doesn't she know I refused to accept it? But this isn't strange. She treats me like air. She wouldn't remember if I accepted a gift or not. I didn't want to talk to her. I just gave a perfunctory nod. But unexpectedly, immediately after, I heard her order me around. Yaya was carving a peace charm for shaming. Go upstairs and help her finish it. So accepting that birthday gift came with this condition attached. I sneered. I deliberately bumped Wen Sining's shoulder without saying a word. As I went up, Wen Sining frowned, but she didn't say anything else. I reached the second floor. Shen Sai was sitting at her desk, holding a carving knife, carving with intense focus. I walked over and saw that in front of her, there was already a completed peace charm. She was copying it step by step. Perhaps my footsteps disturbed Shen Saya. She looked up at me, but the next second, she quickly grabbed the finished charm on the table, pursing her lips in dissatisfaction. She said to me, "Dad, Mom carved this charm for Uncle Shaming. You're not allowed to steal it." My heart stung. I really couldn't let go. The child I once valued more than my own life sees me as a thief. Staring at Shen Sai and Wen Sining, their two faces are almost identical. I suddenly felt suffocated. You don't need to guard against me like that. I never wanted to take someone else's things. Besides, your mom and I are getting divorced soon. Soon, your Uncle Shaming will be your new dad. Just as I finished speaking, from behind came Wen Sining's cold shout. "Shen Xinyan, talking nonsense to the child like that, are you even fit to be a father?" This was probably the longest sentence Wen Sining had ever said to me. I turned around, looking at Wen Sining's indifferent face. I chuckled softly. "That's right. I'm not fit, so go find her another father who is fit." Having said that, I walked towards the door. "Shen Xinyan," Wen Sining grabbed my arm. Her voice held a warning tone. But at that moment, Shen Saya's smartwatch rang. She happily urged, "Mom, Uncle Shaming is video calling." The next second, Wen Sining let go of me. I watched her walk over to answer the call. The face that was ice cold just moments ago now bloomed with a smile. I suddenly felt utterly bored. Without a word, I returned to the guest room, closed my eyes, suddenly dreaming of my 16-year-old self. I watched helplessly as my puppy was thrown to its death. I resisted furiously, but I was pinned to the ground by bodyguards, helpless and despairing because Wen Sining was allergic to animal fur, so as her husband, I wasn't allowed to keep a dog. Then I dreamed of when I was 19. I was sent to Nandi school by my father. I was young back then. I had clearly been directly admitted to Jin University. Yet I was locked in the caged classrooms of Nandi school. They all cried and told me, "Shen Xinyan, keep moving forward. Don't look back." The dreams tonight were chaotic. But the next day, my biological clock still woke me up at 5 a.m. Before, at this time, I had to get up to prepare breakfast for Wen Sining and her daughter. Now, I rubbed my temples, thinking of my mother-in-law's threats. I still got up and went downstairs, but once downstairs, I realized Shen Saya had left with Wen Sining early on. I heard they went to watch the sunrise with Yi Shaming. I found it ridiculous. Anyone with eyes could see. Shen Saya didn't need a father like me at all, but my mother-in-law insisted I return to the old house. In this Wen family home, I was never considered the master of the house. But ironically, whether I was needed or not, I still had to appear where I was supposed to be, even if only as a decoration. Enduring until the end of this weekend, Zhou Ziyuan immediately invited me to the university to see some pretty girls. He said he wanted to help me relieve my frustration. 18-year-old girls really know how to sweet talk, sweetly calling me Appa, bringing a full sense of emotional value. Hanging out at the sports university for a few days, my mood really improved a lot. Zhou Ziyuan didn't even want to leave the campus. "See, I showed you how good these girls are. Don't you feel that Wen Sining, that old hag, is no longer worth loving?" I smiled. "Yeah, I don't love her anymore. See me cooperate." Zhou Ziyuan got more excited as he spoke. "That's right. In my opinion, you should have divorced long ago. Just look at the girls we met. Everyone knows how to care for people better than that cold and heartless Wen Sining. When the time comes, just pick an obedient one to date and marry. Wouldn't that be living like a king?" I was smiling and about to agree, when suddenly, a cuff came from behind. I turned my head to look and discovered Wen Sining and her assistant standing not far away. The assistant looked at me nervously, while Wen Sining stood against the light. I couldn't see her expression clearly, but with her, there would probably never be any expression anyway. I pretended not to see and pulled Zhou Ziyuan to leave. I thought Wen Sining wouldn't care about such trivial matters. But unexpectedly, She walked over and stopped me. "There's a banquet you need to attend. Follow me." Having said that, she didn't give me a chance to refuse, dragging me directly onto the car. Once in the car, I was still a bit dazed. In my impression, Wen Signing always treated me like air. She had no feelings or opinions about me. I had just regained my composure when I heard her suddenly speak. "Shen Xinyan, for families like ours, suitability is the most important thing." I paused for a moment. Only then did I realize she was refuting what Zhou Ziwen and I said. So love isn't important. Whether one knows how to care for others isn't important either. I laughed out of anger for the first time. I showed her a cold attitude definitively, but your suitability is my humiliation and endurance. Wen Signing, what gives you the right? Wen Signing stared at me for a few seconds, but said nothing. I didn't want to waste energy guessing her emotions anymore. I simply closed my eyes and pretended to sleep. Arriving at the clubhouse, I realized this was just a small gathering of Wen Signing's friends. She had never brought me to such occasions before. Actually, I didn't like this group of friends of hers. After all, they looked down on me, always saying I was just a show-off, so throughout the event, I didn't smile at all. I just drank a little along with them. Later, feeling slightly tipsy, I stood up to go to the restroom. In the private room, when Signing chatted with her friends, someone impatiently asked, "Signing, your husband not only didn't smile today, but even dared to give you attitude." "That's right. Rumors say you two are about to divorce." "Looks like it's true." When Signing frowned. "Who says I want a divorce? Since we're married, my husband in this life can only be Shen Xinyan." The friends were shocked. "Are you serious?" When Signing glanced at the person, saying nothing. The friend had a weird expression. After a long while, she uttered a few sentences. "Signing, Xiaogo, who once collaborated with you on a development. Do you remember? Before, she was also indifferent to her husband. She didn't let him come to the company either. No one knew he was her husband. No one knew he was her husband. In the end, the husband lost heart and divorced her. I heard she still hasn't won him back. If you plan to spend your whole life with Shen Xinyan, then we sisters honestly advise you to care for him a bit more. Otherwise, be careful your husband ends up like hers and demands a divorce from you too." When Signing's hand, swirling the wine glass, paused, then she spoke coldly but firmly. "He won." At the same time, in the restroom, I happened to receive a message from the divorce lawyer. "Here, Shen Xinyan, the divorce certificate for you and me's. When Signing has been processed via authorization, you can come to the law firm to pick it up anytime." Finally, the day has come, so I hurriedly hailed a taxi to the law firm, receiving the long-awaited divorce paper. I opened the divorce certificate, looking at it over and over again. From this moment on, I no longer need to treat Wen Signing's words as a decree. I don't need to live watching the Wen family's mood, nor do I need to watch others' expressions every day, straining to maintain the dignity of the Wen family's son-in-law. No need to smile socially at people every day, saying lies that I am very happy. I can go bungee jumping, car racing, go traveling. There are so many things I can do now. Leaving the law office, Zhou Ziwen and I went to a street food stall at the night market to celebrate. Smelling the fragrant aroma of food spreading around, I finally felt the meaning of being alive. That night, we ate skewers, drank beer, danced by the roadside, laughed and shouted wildly. In the end, I laughed until tears came out. The chains that weighed on me for 10 years finally vanished. Perhaps because I held it in for too long, the pain and resignation in my heart really needed to be vented. Borrowing the courage from alcohol, I unblocked my daughter Shen Xiao and gave her a call. As soon as the call connected, I said with red eyes, "Shen Xiao, let me tell you, even if you don't like me, I am still your biological father. When you were sick with a high fever, the one who took care of you day and night was me. The one who taught you to study every day was still me. From the moment you, because of Yi's shaming, an outsider, scolded me as cruel, I was no longer your father, and don't call me dad anymore. You are not worthy." "Shen Xinyan, what are you saying?" When Signing's cold voice came from the receiver, I was stunned. Immediately reacting, she might be with her. I sneered, mocking, "Wen, you have time to lecture me? Why don't you manage your daughter properly? Did you know? The night before my birthday, your daughter told me to divorce you, to make room for Yi's shaming. The ridiculous thing is, that was the longest sentence she ever said to me." When Signing, "Congratulations, I have fulfilled the wishes of all of you." After speaking, I put Shen Xiao back on the blacklist. Early the next morning, I booked a flight ticket abroad. I knew very well. Yesterday, I was indeed a bit too impulsive. Plus, once the divorce gets out, the Wen family will definitely not let me off. They might even force me to kneel and beg Wen Signing to remarry. Maybe even, they will threaten me to marry some wealthy family's daughter. I have to flee this city. I won't come back. Saying goodbye to Zhou Ziwen, I packed simple luggage and went out. Unexpectedly, I saw the Maybach parked not far from the gate. Wen Signing led Shen Xiao out of the car towards me. "Shen Xiao, apologize to your father." Shen Xiao's small face was pale with nervousness. Clutching her clothes tightly, she bowed her head to me. "Dad, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have scolded you, and I shouldn't have said you and Mom should divorce. I know I was wrong. Can you forgive me? I chuckled softly. No need to apologize. I've already vented all the anger I needed to, and I don't care anymore. Finished speaking, Wen Signing broke character and spoke. I'm sorry. I didn't teach Yo Yao well. I am also responsible. Truly rare that I could hear the day Wen Signing took the initiative to apologize. But the hurt that has been caused, can it be forgiven with just an apology? Impossible. At this moment, I remembered in my pocket the item I originally planned to mail to Wen Signing from the airport, so I spoke up directly. Wen Signing, if you really feel sorry, then take me to the airport. Wen Signing looked puzzled. The Wen family has no business trips outside the city recently. Where are you flying to? I smiled mockingly. Besides the Wen family's business, am I not allowed to have my own personal affairs? I mean, for the first time, Wen Signing revealed a puzzled look, but I didn't care at all. Initially, she was the one who brought me into this Wen family cage. Now, she should be the one to send me off, personally cutting off the last tie between us completely. Along the way, no one said anything. Arriving at the airport, before getting out to leave, hand an exquisite box to Wen Signing, the final gift. Wen Signing was stunned for a moment, although wondering what final meant. She still reached out to take it. Thank you. Shen Saya couldn't help but look up and ask, Dad, where's mine? I smiled. Yours is in there too. After all, this is a gift that for both of you is considered the thing you wanted most. You should be happy. This gift, remember to open only after an hour. By then, the plane will have taken off. Rarely did Wen Signing show a gentle attitude towards me. She even said to me, come back soon. I smiled. Didn't answer. I won't come back. I am gonna find my own freedom. Wen Signing kept watching my figure disappear into the airport. Looking at that lonely back, an inexplicable uneasiness rose in her heart. She held the box, intending to open it immediately. But Shen Saya stopped her. Mom, we promised Dad that we'd open it after an hour. We have to keep our word. For the next hour, Wen Signing held documents, but couldn't read a single page, not knowing how many times she glanced at the gift box. Finally, the hour was up. Shen Saya scrambled to open the gift box. Mom, what exactly did Dad give us? That is so secret. With a click, the lid was opened. Wen Signing turned her head and saw clearly. Inside lay quietly a divorce booklet. Although Shen Saya was only 3 years old, she had started learning to read early. She looked at the divorce booklet in the box. Her small mouth mumbled for a long time, finally uttering a sentence. Mom, what is a divorce certificate? Didn't Dad say he was giving us a gift? Is this little booklet the gift? When Signing's head buzzed, she threw the documents down. The moment she stood up, her elbow hit the coffee cup beside her. The warm coffee spilled all over her handmade tailored clothes, leaving a dark stain, yet she was completely unaware. She just snatched the box from Shen Saya's hands. She didn't even notice herself that her hands were shaking violently. A terrifying panic suddenly rose in her heart, feeling that once this divorce booklet was opened, something would be gone forever, never return. This time, when Signing lost her composure rarely seen, her trembling fingers slowly leaked up that small red booklet. Taking a few deep breaths before opening it, the moment she saw my name and hers, her pitch-black pupils suddenly dilated. She almost didn't dare to believe her eyes. With a snap, she closed the divorce booklet. Just as she was about to call me, she thought about how I might be on the plane right now. Irritation and anxiety rose in her heart. She suppressed the anger of wanting to question me directly, calling the phone. Assistant. Check the sir's whereabouts immediately, see where his flight today is going, and bring him back here to me at once. Also, investigate who processed the divorce papers for me and him. No divorce agreement, no filing to the court. Why was the divorce possible? In her voice carried panic and anger she didn't realize herself. She rarely showed emotions on her face like this. The assistant fearfully said yes, and immediately went to investigate my whereabouts. When Signing put hands on her hips, pacing back and forth in the large study, the uneasiness in her heart grew stronger and stronger, showing no sign of subsiding. Finally, she still took out her phone, sending a friend request verification message to me, who had long blocked her. What on earth is the divorce paper? You are an adult. Why pull this kind of prank? Reply to me immediately when you get off the plane. Yao Yao and I are very worried about you. Hesitating for a long time, her fingers typed on the screen. Then entered. Is there a problem? We can sit down and talk. We can communicate properly. No need to do this. You're a father already, not a child anymore. All messages were like stones sinking into the sea. When Signing sat heavily onto the sofa, rubbing her temples warily. Shen Sayo, who had been quietly playing with blocks nearby, suddenly looked up with her small face, innocently asking her mother, Mom, does this gift mean he wants to divorce you? Divorce. When Signing felt her chest tighten, choked and uncomfortable, making one feel panic inside. After a long while, she murmured, Shen Xinyan, have you also lost heart with me? The waiting time was always long. When Signing didn't know how many times she checked her watch, how many messages she sent. Hasn't the plane landed yet? Shen Xinyan, where exactly did you go? But from beginning to end, There was no response. A sense of inexplicable grievance rose in her heart. She felt that she and I were clearly so suitable. We lived together very well for 5 years. How could I suddenly demand a divorce from her and even leave silently? Suddenly, the phone rang. She pressed the answer button without hesitation, not even looking at the caller's name. Shen Xinyan, you finally know to call me? I sent you so many messages. Why didn't you reply? The person on the other end was silent for a few seconds before speaking. "See Wen. It's me." Wen Signing glanced at the phone screen, only seeing the little strength she just recovered. Vanishing completely, she rubbed her temples, her voice deepened. "Sorry, I was too impatient. How is it? Any news of the sir?" The assistant weighed his words for a moment, swallowed his saliva. Slowly said, "It's like this, as when we found out today, the sir bought a ticket for a flight abroad, but the transfer information after landing, we couldn't trace it, so specifically which country the sir went to, we are not quite sure either." The assistant's voice got smaller and smaller. Wen Signing's face was also gloomy like dark clouds. After a long while, she asked hoarsely, "Then what about the divorce paper? Have you investigated it clearly?" The assistant on the other end nodded, but suddenly realizing Wen Signing couldn't see, hastily added, "Found it. The divorce agreement was signed by you personally, the forensics and legal department. The handwriting and content have both been verified. There are no issues." The anger suppressed for so long finally conquered reason. Wen Signing's voice was ice cold. "What do you mean there are no issues?" The assistant fell silent for a moment, then slowly explained that in the divorce agreement, he did not ask for a share of any of your assets. He is leaving with almost nothing. As for the joint assets under both your names, the portion of assets and shares belonging to him have all been transferred to little Miss Yo Yao. He said that as a father, he must pay child support for little Miss Yo Yao. He doesn't need your assets, nor does he require custody of little Miss Yo Yao. Upon hearing this, Wen Signing hung up the phone. She gripped the phone tightly, unable to compose herself for a long time. She didn't understand. As far as she was concerned, the marriage was clearly going very well. Why did it suddenly fall apart? After a long silence, she let out a sharp breath. "Shen Xinyan, what exactly are you dissatisfied with?" As she was thinking, the study door was pushed open a crack. Shen Saya peeked in, waddling inside on her short little legs. Her upturned eyes were filled with joy. "Mom, I asked Uncle Shaming. Dad giving us the divorce papers means I can have a new dad now. Mom, hurry up and marry Uncle Shaming. I want Uncle Shaming to be my new dad." In the past, when she heard such words, Wen Signing just dismissed it as childish babble, but hearing it again today, it felt incredibly piercing. Could it be that Shen Xinyan wanted a divorce because of what our daughter said? Thinking of this, she couldn't help but frown and shout, "You're only 3 years old. What do you know to be saying things like this? Don't say that ever again. You only have one father. There is no new father." Shen Saya was stunned by the scolding. Her little mouth quivered, and she burst into tears. "I want a new dad. I want a new dad. I only want Uncle Shaming to be my new dad. I don't need my old dad. He's like a male nanny all day long. He's no good at all." Wen Signing's anger flared up uncontrollably. She couldn't hold back and slapped Shen Saya. "Who taught you to say these things? She should have thought of it sooner." Shen Saya was just a 3-year-old child. If no one had been whispering these things into her ears, how would she know about divorce? How could she say things like dad is a male nanny? The slap wasn't hard, but Shen Saya acted as if she couldn't bear it. She rushed straight out the door. "I hate you, Mom. If you don't get me a new dad, I'm not coming back." Wen Signing felt conflicted inside. She intended to pull the girl back, but her phone rang again. It was Shaming calling. Hesitating for 2 seconds between stopping Shen Saya and answering the phone, Wen Signing chose the latter. As soon as the call connected, Shaming's voice immediately came through. "Signing, I heard Yao Yao say you and Shen Xinyan are divorcing. What is this about? It's not just a child talking nonsense." "Is it?" Wen Signing sighed. "There is a misunderstanding. I won't be divorcing Shen Xinyan. Is there anything else?" Shaming was silent for a moment, his tone disappointed. "Nothing. It's just that we originally agreed that we would take Yao Yao to the amusement park to see fireworks today. I saw that neither of you sent any news, so I just wanted to ask." A look of guilt crossed Wen Signing's face. "Sorry. I forgot. Let's go next time we have a chance." By the time Wen Signing put the phone down, Shen Sai had long since disappeared. She didn't pay much attention. There were so many maids in the villa. How could they not watch over a 3-year-old? But Shen Sai, right under the noses of so many people, had gone missing. No one saw how she left the villa. Even the surveillance cameras outside only captured her figure walking away alone. Wen Signing led people to turn the whole city upside down, but there was still no trace of Shen Sai. She called Shen Xinyan's number repeatedly, but the only response she got was, "Sorry, the number you have dialed is switched off. Please try again later." Finally, she had her assistant find Zhu Ziwen's number. "Hello, this is Wen Signing. Has Shen Xinyan contacted you? If you have news of him, I hope you will pass on a message immediately, because he demanded a divorce. Yao Yao has gone missing. If he still has any sense of being a father, I hope he returns immediately." But before she could finish speaking, Zhu Ziwen impatiently interrupted her loudly. "Stop, stop, stop. If the child is missing, call the police. What good does finding Shen Xinyan do?" Do he and the child of telepathy? Will he instantly locate the target once his back and teleport right next to that ungrateful brat? Truly ridiculous. And saying the child is missing because of the divorce. Isn't he divorcing because you people forced him? Divorce is the right choice. He should have divorced you sooner. You and that ungrateful brat. Neither of you are any good. The call was abruptly cut off, but immediately after, it rang again. It was Yi Shaming when Signing picked up and only heard clearly, "Signing, help, someone is trying to kidnap Yo Yao. Let Yo Yo go. Don't be afraid." Uncle Shaming. Look out. The phone suddenly went dead. When Signing immediately ordered her people to trace Yi Shaming's phone signal and rushed there. When they arrived, Yi Shaming and Shen Xiao were lying unconscious down a slope off the highway. Yi Shaming was scratched all over, looking completely wretched, but Shen Xiao was held tightly in his arms, except for some dust on her face. She was completely unharmed. Everyone present was moved by this scene. When Signing's hand hanging by her side clenched tight, she had them put on the ambulance first. Watching the flashing red and blue lights fade away, she finally said to the assistant beside her, "Go investigate what Yi Shaming has been doing lately, who he has been in contact with. Do not overlook a single clue." The assistant was momentarily stunned, but quickly reacted. He and President Wen searched the entire city and couldn't find a trace of little Miss Yo Yao. How could Yi Shaming find her, with so many maids in the villa? Little Miss Yo Yao is just a 3-year-old child. How could she leave unnoticed? If it was really a kidnapping, why did the kidnappers demand a ransom, but instead dump them on the highway? When Signing has been navigating the business world for years, with such obvious flaws, how could she not be suspicious? After some investigation, When Signing quickly obtained evidence that Yi Shaming planned the kidnapping. Looking at the documents in her hand, she was silent for a long time. Her eyes were cold and gloomy, the aura around her terrifyingly frigid. Withdraw the case at the police station. Don't make a big fuss about this. Destroy all the evidence. I don't want a third person to know. Just tell the public that Yi Shaming saved Yo Yao. The assistant looked full of disbelief. Is President Wen covering up for the mastermind who kidnapped her own daughter? But before he could figure it out, When Signing's figure had already disappeared at the end of the hospital corridor. When Signing pushed open the hospital room door and saw Yi Shaming leaning against the hospital bed, his face pale, she frowned involuntarily, her eyes filled with scrutiny. Yi Shaming coughed weakly a few times, intentionally revealing the wound on his arm. He frowned with concern. How is Yo Yao? Is she alright? She is so young. This must have caused her considerable trauma. It's all Shen Xinyan's fault for leaving just like that, not even caring about his child anymore. There's no father in this world as irresponsible as him. No, I have to go see how Yo Yao is doing. As he spoke, he pretended to get out of bed, but as he passed by Wen Signing, she held him back. Wen Signing's voice was hoarse and restrained. Shen Xinyan is my husband. Whether he is a qualified father or not is not for others to judge. Shaming looked at Wen Signing's cold profile. Momentarily stunned, the face that was usually gentle with him now didn't have a hint of a smile. Cold enough to be terrifying, he involuntarily clenched his fists, a thin layer of sweat forming on his palms. A flash of guilt crossed his eyes. Signing, given our feelings for so many years, how can I be others? He then softened his voice. I was just too anxious, so I misspoke in the heat of the moment, but this kidnapping was truly terrible. Even as an adult, I was terrified. I watched Yo-Yo grow up. I really can't help but feel heart-attached for her. When Signing clenched the hand at her side, looking at Yi Shaming with cold suspicion, after a long while, she asked, if you felt it was so terrible and terrifying, why did you hire someone to kidnap Yo Yao and stage this whole act yourself? Yi Shaming's pale face stiffened instantly. He blinked innocently, looking completely confused. Signing, what are you talking about? I don't understand. When Signing didn't explain, but just looked at him, her eyes flashing with complexity and disappointment. I've already destroyed the evidence for you. From now on, don't appear in front of Yao Yao again. I will send you abroad and arrange your life there comfortably. Don't come back. Having said that, she turned to leave, but Yi Shaming lunged forward and hugged her tightly. Signing, don't send me away. If I did something wrong, I can change. We've been together for so many years. I simply cannot live without you. When Signing remained unmoved, she grabbed his wrists and tried to pull him off. Yi Shaming immediately panicked. Signing, why is this happening? I admit I was a bit hasty this time, but you and Shen Xinyan are already divorced. I just wanted to marry the person I love. What's wrong with that? I don't mind that Yo Yao is someone else's child. I promise to treat her well in the future. When Signing grabbed Yi Shaming's wrist and flung him away. She frowned, her cold eyes filled with disbelief. She couldn't understand. The person you love, shouldn't it be my deceased sister? Yi Shaming's face turned pale instantly. His lips trembled. What are you saying? The person I love has always been you. For all these years, you've been by my side, caring for me, looking after me. You remember my birthday better than I do. You treat me even better than your husband. Don't you love me? When Signing took a step back, I took care of you only to fulfill my sister's dying wish. I have no romantic feelings for you, and I would never marry you. The private jet abroad will be ready today. Leave here immediately. With that, When Signing left the hospital room without looking back. As for me, far away in Finland, I knew nothing about these events. I had obtained a residence permit in Finland, registered at a local university, and planned to fulfill my dream of striving to become a diplomatic interpreter. Before school started, I used the savings I had accumulated over the years to buy a small house. I heard that here, you can see the aurora in winter. I was looking forward to single life, so I could control my time better. I taught myself Finnish, and also chose to study German, Japanese, and Spanish. In my second year of university, I registered for a special training program for international students. In at least 3 years, I could enter the embassy in Finland and become a diplomat. Amidst my busy study and work life, I rarely recalled the past. The marriage to Wen Signing seemed to have become a distant memory. Here, I was not the son-in-law of the Wen family, not Wen Signing's husband, and not Shen Xiao's father. In this place, I was just me, a completely independent person. In Finland, people don't need to follow a rigid framework of studying, taking university entrance exams, then working and getting married. After finishing high school here, people can freely choose what they want to do: work, get married, or do nothing at all. Everything is allowed, and their educational eligibility remains reserved forever until they want to return to university to start learning again from the beginning. Therefore, there were no barriers in communication between me and my classmates. Many of them were my age, or even a bit older. 4 years of studying and living here, I felt an unprecedented relaxation and happiness. I also made many friends. In my 5th year in Finland, I successfully entered the embassy in Finland and became a diplomatic interpreter. But I didn't know that over the past 6 years, Wen Signing had never stopped searching for me. In the president's office at Wen Corporation, the assistant was beaming with joy. "President Wen, we have news of him. He is at the Finnish embassy." Wen Signing sprang up, a rare look of joy appearing on her face. The assistant was astonished, eyes wide open. He had seen President Wen smile in 6 years. Ever since Shin divorced her, even closing billion-dollar deals didn't elicit such a smile. Wen Signing stood up to leave, but turned back just as she reached the door. "I need his current detailed profile. Do it now." Waves of joy surged in her chest. Wen Signing couldn't help but smile. She looked at the photo of the family of 3 on her desk. "I will definitely clear up the misunderstanding between us and bring you back to me." However, never actively sought to know about the current lives of Wen Signing and Shen Xiao. As far as I was concerned, they must have gotten what they wanted and found a satisfactory husband and father. I was busy every day attending international conferences and translating documents. Life was busy but enriching, until one day, my boss brought a new energy project plan in Chinese. To me, "Xiao Shen, you have the best working ability in our department. This plan, the National Trade Promotion Bureau of Finland values it very highly. I hope you can complete the translation quickly." I looked at the stack of project files, a handspan high, and gave a sincere, relaxed smile. "Don't worry, boss. Mission accomplished guaranteed." These years, I had constantly honed my professional skills precisely to complete tasks that others couldn't, constantly breaking my own limits. I was born to love challenges, but when I flipped open the project book, I discovered it was a plan from the Wen Corporation. Wen Signing's familiar figure appeared in my mind once again. I shook my head and took a deep breath, consoling myself. The Wen Corporation's project spanned the globe. It's normal for her to want to launch a new project in Finland. It's probably just a coincidence. After staying up for several nights, I brought the translated project plan and knocked on my boss' office door. The boss flipped through a few pages and nodded profusely, truly worthy of being the talent praised by the old leadership during inspection. "Your work ability is truly excellent. I didn't expect that in such a short time you would complete the task. It was arduous, yet you did it fast and well. Xiao Shen is indeed a fierce general of our translation bureau." Boss, stop beating around the bush. If there's a task, just assign it directly. If you praise me anymore, you'll get a big head. The boss chuckled and tightened the lid of his tea flask. "The Wen Corporation from back home is coming to Finland for a field survey. The Finnish side also takes this very seriously. I have already registered you for the diplomatic interpretation work this time. We can't just be all about work every day. We have to care about life too. I recall you are still single, right?" I heard the representative of the Wen Corporation is young and talented, and also single. Take this opportunity to interact more. Wen Corporation. It couldn't be Wen Signing, could it? My heart trembled. Surely it's not that coincidental. The next day, the Wen Corporation representative arrived in Finland. My boss took me to the airport to welcome them. "Xiao Shen, the Finnish side has prepared a dinner for the Wen Corporation representative. The atmosphere won't be too serious. Just relax a bit when you translate. Don't be too tense. I'll introduce you to the Wen Corporation representative later." Just as he finished speaking, I saw my boss waving at someone behind me. "President Wen, over here." When my boss led me to Wen Signing, I was still dazed, unable to compose myself. 6 years had passed, but time seemed to have left no trace on her. She was as indifferent and cold as ever. It wasn't until my boss nudged me forward, face full of smiles, introducing us. "President Wen, let me introduce you. This is Comrade Shen Sinyan from the Translation Bureau of our Finnish Embassy. He will be your accompanying interpreter for this schedule. Don't let our Xiao Shen's youthful good looks fool you. He is fluent in 5 languages. He is our most excellent diplomatic interpreter. Moreover, he is currently single. In front of me, Wen Xining stared intently, her eyes full of scrutiny. Carrying an emotion that defied words, I smiled and extended my hand, my attitude polite and distant. Hello, President Wen. A pleasure. She stared at me for a few seconds, the emotion in her eyes indescribable. After a long while, she raised her hand to shake mine. Meeting Wen Xining was unexpected, so I just wanted to get it over with quickly. I tried to withdraw my hand and leave, but she held it tight and wouldn't let go. I tried twice and couldn't help but frown. My tone lowered. President Wen, what is the meaning of this? My boss stood by, looking at her and then at me, seemingly sensing the atmosphere was off. He hurriedly smoothed things over. Interpreter Shen's handsome looks and special charisma always make people's hearts flutter. It seems President Wen is no exception. Wen Xining's eyes were dark. She let go, rarely curling her lip in agreement. Indeed, she said nothing more. The dinner started very quickly. I didn't take her to heart, so what if we had a brief interaction? She couldn't have come solely for me anyway. I composed myself, sat down next to Wen Xining, and calmly translated word for word. I conveyed Wen Xining's words to the Finnish representative, and translated the Finnish representative's words for her. When listening to me speak, she tilted her head slightly, nodding continuously. During the conversation, every time Wen Xining finished a sentence, she would quietly look at me. That gaze was calm and attentive. I instinctively avoided her gaze, working impartially to complete my job. Fortunately, the negotiations at the dinner went very smoothly. At parting, in the Finnish snow and wind, I pulled my coat tight when a large, warm brief handshake with Wen Xining. See you, Wen. Happy cooperation. See you again. Saying that, I turned to leave. My shoes made a crunching sound on the packed snow. The moment I opened the car door, a voice suddenly called out from behind. Shen Sinyan. I froze but didn't turn my head, quietly waiting for her next words. A long while later, when the wind numbed my fingertips, her voice finally rang out again. Don't you have anything you want to say to me? I don't know if it was my imagination, but her hoarse voice carried a hint of inexplicable grievance. My heart trembled slightly, but I felt it was just because the polar night in Finland was too cold. See you, Wen. I've already completed the interpretation for the dinner party. As for other matters, I have nothing to say, but Wen Xining didn't seem resigned to let me leave like this. Her usually cold and composed tone now carried a hint of urgency. Shen Sinyan, you divorced so quietly back then, even if you don't think about me. What about Yoyao's feelings? Do you not care about that either? It's been 6 years. Yao is already 9 years old. Don't you miss her at all? I turned around, my expression unchanging as I gave a faint smile. A child who looks down on her father's sacrifice? What is there worth missing? Besides, she must be very happy right now having a new dad. Wen Xining frowned, her red lips pursed slightly, looking at me with a bit of confusion. Then, she sighed in compromise, stepped closer on the snow, her tone rarely softening. Yao did ignore your sacrifice. She was just too young. She didn't know how to love others yet. She won't have any so-called new dad. Her dad can only be you. There is no need to doubt this. Too young. Doesn't know how to love others yet. My gaze rested on Wen Xining's face. I couldn't help but feel it was ridiculous. Knowing how to love or not has nothing to do with age. Wen Xining and Shen Xiao could remember Yi Shaming's birthday, could put in the effort to hand-carve a peace charm for him. How could this mother and daughter pair not know how to love? They just didn't know how to love me. I leaned leisurely against the car, assessing her. I couldn't help but think, if I were still her husband now, would she stand before me like today, and calmly say so many words to me? I shook my head and laughed self-mockingly. Wen Xining frowned in confusion. What are you laughing at? I didn't care about her gaze at all. My smile was full of unruliness and arrogance, and not lacking in sarcasm. Hearing a joke, wouldn't you laugh? Wen Xining, regardless of whether we are divorced or not, it doesn't seem like we have the kind of relationship to reminisce about the past. Your understanding of me is pitifully little, and I have no interest in recalling the past related to you. After speaking, I ignored her expression of wanting to speak but stopping, got directly into the car, slammed on the gas and sped away. Back home, I washed up and collapsed onto the mattress. I don't know if it was because I met Wen Xining today, but images of the past kept surfacing in my mind. Married for 5 years, I tried my best to play the role of a good husband and a good father, but I never got to properly be myself. Studying abroad alone, living alone for the past 6 years. Actually, I rarely think about the past. Most of the time, I am making up for myself, making up for the campus life I never got to experience, making up for my lost youth. I had long forgotten whose husband I used to be, whose father I was. But now, Wen Xining's appearance has forced me to recall those memories that I deliberately forgot. I wrapped the blanket tight, tossing between the cold and the warmth. Profound sense of exhaustion rose within me, and I quickly fell asleep. Late at night, The neighbor's hound barking loudly woke me up when Sining's cold eyes in my dream, and Shinsaya's hateful guardedness vanished before my eyes. I took a few deep breaths to sober myself up, then went to the window to check the situation. At this moment, Wen Sining was standing right outside my door. I don't know how she found my address. I just felt it was a bit funny. The polar night in Finland, the average temperature is -20 or 30 degrees. With her flimsy way of dressing, if she really stood outside all night, I have no doubt that when I open the door tomorrow morning, I will see a human-shaped ice sculpture. Although I don't know what she wants to do, I still opened the door and invited this ex-wife inside. After all, I don't want her dying on my doorstep, causing me more trouble. Before the warm fireplace, out of courtesy, I handed Wen Sining a cup of coffee. She was so cold her knuckles were red, her whole body trembling uncontrollably, holding the warm cup with both hands for a long time. She finally let out a breath and smiled at me. "Thank you." My eyes flickered slightly. She rarely smiled at me. Most of the time she was cold and indifferent, with no expression. I couldn't help frowning, my tone turning cold. "Wen Sining, what exactly do you want to do?" Wen Sining's eyelashes trembled. I don't know if it was because the weather was too cold, but her speech carried a faint, weak tremble. "I want to know, why did we divorce?" I frowned. Staring at her face, she also calmly looked back at me, her eyes filled with genuine confusion and incomprehension. My emotions were a complete mess, so everything I went through in those 5 years was truly completely ignored. I let out a heavy breath, suddenly regretting letting her in. I should have turned off the lights and gone to sleep and let her freeze to death outside. Her throat moved, seemingly having hesitated for a long time before uttering 2 unfamiliar words. "Sinian." How ridiculous. The first time she seriously called my name was actually 6 years after the divorce. My gaze fixed on Wen Sining, inevitably carrying a hint of sarcasm. "Wen Sining, have you ever thought that perhaps your ignorance of the reason for the divorce was the very reason we divorced?" Wen Sining's body stiffened for a moment, her eyes revealing a rare panic. For some reason, my eyes suddenly felt hot, but I quickly suppressed the bitterness in my heart. "Wen Sining, before the divorce, I told you many times that if you and Yo-Yo like Yi shaming that much, then I agree to the divorce. At the same time, I will give up custody of Yo-Yo and leave empty-handed. Our marital assets will be transferred to Yo-Yo's name. Consider it as this unpopular father leaving child support for her. I said these words clearly to you, every single detail. But Wen Sining, do you have any recollection?" Wen Sining's hand holding the cup unconsciously tightened. Brows furrowed, as if trying to recall something, but the blankness in her eyes betrayed her. She remembered nothing. I knew, of course, this would be the result, because she never seriously listened to a single word I said when I was her husband. At that time, to her, I was just a partner in name only. A housekeeper, a male nanny for Yi shaming. A gloom choked my chest. I suddenly felt malicious. I didn't want to let Wen Sining off that easy, but thinking back, no matter what I do, it probably wouldn't hurt her anyway, because she simply didn't care. The reason she's being so stubborn this time is probably just because my derailment has shattered her authority, and she loves controlling everything too much. Wen Sining lowered her head, her voice full of guilt and disappointment. "Sorry, I really don't remember you saying these things. Maybe I was busy then. But is this the reason you divorced me? I really can't accept such a reason." I took a sip of coffee. In this polar day where night and day are indistinguishable, I was prepared to fight a long battle with her. I raised my eyebrows and smiled. "Then what about the perfume smell on your clothes every night you came home? Is this reason enough for me to divorce you?" Wen Sining's expression froze. She seemed to finally catch the contradiction in my words, but shook her head as if in disbelief. "Yi shaming? You divorced me because of him?" The shock in Wen Sining's voice grew stronger, as if divorcing because of Yi shaming was even more absurd than divorcing because she never listened to me. I just nodded coldly. "Yes, every day you came home carrying Yi shaming's scent. Every time Yo-Yo opened her mouth, she wanted Uncle Shaman to be her new dad. Do I still have to shamelessly hold on to the Wen family's son-in-law that I never even coveted?" Wen Sining's face really went pale for a moment. "So you suspect I cheated?" I raised a finger and wagged it in front of her. "Not suspect. When you took Yi shaming to all sorts of events, shamelessly letting others introduce him. When your friends mocked me and joked that you and Yi shaming were a better match. When you, wanting to leave with Yi shaming sooner, signed the divorce papers without even looking. Whether you cheated or not didn't matter anymore. Divorcing you was just because I didn't want to die slowly in this cage called the Wen family son-in-law. No one likes living wearing a mask, being bound by rules until all their edges are worn down. Wen Sining, being a fake person with only a hollow title. I was never willing to do that myself." Wen Sining's eyelashes trembled, silent for a very long time. Perhaps she didn't expect me to say these things, or maybe she simply didn't care about my true feelings. She just wanted to find for her failure an opportunity to review and summarize the experience. But as I see it, these things are completely unnecessary, because she likes Yi shaming. She'll remember his birthday, thoughtfully prepare gifts and surprises. She'll run to meet him immediately, seriously listen to him speak, know his preferences like the back of her hand. She loves his shaming, so this failed chapter of mine won't appear in her future married life. I raise my hand to check the time. It's already 4:30 am. If we hadn't divorced and have another half hour before I had to get up to prepare breakfast for Wen Signing and her daughter. Drowsiness hit me. I opened my mouth to see the guest out. Wen, you've probably found out what you wanted to know. Please leave early. Before I could finish my sentence, I heard an extremely clear and solemn sorry. I was momentarily stunned and even swallowed the words stuck in my throat. Wen Signing looked at me unblinkingly, slowly repeating, "Sorry, I didn't know these details I ignored. Caused you so much grievance. I was wrong. I apologize to you." I couldn't help feeling a bit amused to make the high and mighty Wen Signing apologize. I guess I count as one of a kind. Maybe I can also make peace with the past. But there is one point. I don't agree with your view. Wen Signing suddenly spoke up, interrupting my train of thought. She pursed her lips, continuing, "I didn't cheat, and I don't like ye shaming." A clear trace of guilt and longing flashed in her eyes. She said with difficulty, "I took care of him and agreed to all his requests to fulfill my older sister's dying wish. The reason I didn't correct others when they called him brother-in-law was because I felt if my sister were still alive, then he would indeed be the rightful brother-in-law." Waved my hand. "It doesn't matter anymore." She seemed hurt by my cold attitude. A flash of heart-touch in her eyes, emphasizing, "This is very important. In the 6 years you've been gone, Yayo and I have missed you very much. I hope to clear the misunderstanding in your heart for you to return to the family." For a moment there, I really thought Wen Signing was joking. I longed for 10 years to gain freedom, and now she tells me to return to the family? A vibrating laugh burst from my chest. I really couldn't help laughing out loud. A look of shock crossed Wen Signing's face. She seemed to truly not understand what I was laughing at. Or perhaps, she had never seen this true side of me before. I raised my hand to wipe the tears from the corner of my eyes. Clutching my stomach that ached from laughing, taking a few deep breaths, I reluctantly calmed down. "Wen Signing, are you joking? I struggled so hard to divorce you, and now I have my own career. How could I possibly return to the family? Besides, what would I go back for? To be a free housewife, or a nanny running around serving you, running to your company every day, to deliver that ridiculous seafood porridge? You feel guilty towards your sister, and want to fulfill her dying wish, to take good care of ye shaming? Then there's no need to drag me into it. After all, I don't owe your sister, I don't owe ye shaming, and I especially don't owe you." Wen Signing wanted to say something else, but I had already walked to the door and threw it open. The cold wind blew snow inside, the room temperature dropping sharply. I gripped the doorknob tightly, my voice as cold as winter frost. "Get out. Don't make me say it twice." Wen Signing finally left, but I was exhausted, yet couldn't sleep anymore. I stayed up until morning, then reluctantly pulled myself together to work at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Translation Bureau. But as soon as I arrived at the office, my leader stood before me, speaking earnestly. "Xiao Shen, although you haven't worked here long, your work attitude is positive, and your ability is excellent. This time, the Wen Corporation wants to launch a new energy project in Finland, which is also very beneficial for relations between our two countries. Leaders of relevant Finnish ministries want to take this opportunity to return to the country with Wen for a survey, and they are missing an accompanying interpreter. I have proposed to the superiors that this time you will represent our Ministry of Foreign Affairs to return home. It's been 6 years since you went abroad. Take this opportunity to reunite with your family." I smiled and listened, but I was already cursing a storm internally. It's all Wen Signing's fault, dragging up so many issues the moment she arrived. I forced a smile and stood up. "Please rest assured, Leader, I guarantee to complete the mission." That very afternoon, along with Wen Signing and the Finnish survey delegation, boarded the private plane back to the country. I don't know who arranged the seats, but Wen Signing and I were only separated by an armrest. I tiredly rubbed my temple, turning my head away to avoid looking at her. Obviously, we were both up all night, but Wen Signing showed no signs of fatigue. Not long after, a thick, soft blanket was placed over me. Wen Signing's movements were very careful, seemingly afraid to wake me up, but I wasn't asleep. I just didn't want to look at her at all. I just didn't expect that as soon as I got off the plane, I would see the daughter with whom I only had a shred of blood relation left. Shinsai was holding Mother Wen's hand, standing in the waiting area. She is 9 years old this year, no longer the chubby white milk ball she used to be. She has grown quite a bit. Seeing me, she immediately shouted, "Dad!" The leaders of the survey delegation looked at each other in bewilderment. Someone whispered, asking what was going on. My smile remained polite, as I calmly replied, "This child probably just couldn't find her dad." Wen Signing beside me immediately darkened her face. Turns out she understands Finnish. Shin Saya wanted to run over, but was pulled back by Mother Wen. This dignified and proper woman wouldn't let the child continue crying, but dragged her away. Mother Wen coming here certainly wasn't out of kindness to let us father and daughter meet. Perhaps she wanted to use Shen Saya to force me to do something. Who knows? It's just that I have no reason to obediently listen anymore. Accompanying the Finnish delegation to visit Wen Corporation, these past few days went relatively smoothly. After all, In work, when signing never makes mistakes, but as soon as the survey work ended, she immediately came to find me. Sinian, the delegation's work has finished a phase. Do you want to come home and take a look? Yayo misses you very much. Misses me. In my mind, I couldn't help but picture the miniature version of Shen Sayo, with all kinds of disgust and rejection towards me. I shook my head. Forget it. She didn't like me before. Now that I've been gone for 6 years, she probably hates me even more. She likes Yi Shaming to be her dad. If you want to help your sister fulfill her dying wish, you might as well marry Yi Shaming soon. That way everyone wins, and it saves your future husband from having to help you take care of your brother-in-law too. When signing rubbed her temple. Sighing warily. Sinian, must we really talk like this? I glanced at her indifferently, calmly saying, don't like hearing it. We could have just not talked at all. After speaking, I packed my things and went straight back to the hotel I was staying at. As for the Wen house, there was basically no need to return. Hearing that Zhu Ziwen was also in the country, I was in a very good mood and hurriedly asked him out. The moment we met, Zhu Ziwen excitedly grabbed my hand. Sinian, that's great. This is what you're supposed to look like. Haven't seen you for 6 years. Seeing you like this now, I'm truly happy for you. Hanging out with Zhu Ziwen, there are always endless topics to talk about. Once we started talking, several hours passed in a blink. While we were talking enthusiastically, my phone suddenly rang. It was a strange local number. I frowned and hesitated for a moment, but finally picked up. A probing female voice came from the other end. Hello? Excuse me. Is this Shen Saya's father? I am her homeroom teacher. Shen Saya got into a fight with a classmate at school. I just called her mother. She told me to contact you. Zhu Ziwen angrily snatched my phone and said, no, you have the wrong number. Then hung up immediately. This when signing woman, is she sick? You two are already divorced, and you don't even have custody anymore. You've only been back in the country for a few days. She's really looking for trouble. Before he could finish, the phone rang again. I answered again. The teacher on the other end sounded anxious and impatient. Shen Saya's father, please come here quickly. Adult matters shouldn't affect a child's physical and mental development. Moreover, Shen Sayo broke a classmate's head. The other parent is urging you to come and take the child to the hospital. Helpless, Zhu Ziwen and I had to rush to the school. In the teacher's office, several children had faces covered in dirt, but the other children all had parents with them. Only Shen Saya had no one standing behind her. The injured classmate's parent was hugging their child, pointing at Shen Saya and scolding her continuously. You're so young. Why are you so vicious? Didn't your dad teach you not to hit people randomly? Before this parent could finish speaking, the kids nearby were already giggling in a group. Shen Saya has no dad. Shen Saya's dad doesn't want her anymore. Shen Saya is a child without a father. Shen Saya's eyes turned red with rage. Like a little wolf, she rushed forward to keep fighting. It's clear to see, the Wen family must have given her proper martial arts training. But the other side had parents protecting them after all. She didn't gain any advantage. The moment she fell to the ground, she saw me standing at the door. Her eyes turned beet red. I could see her tears about to spill over, but she bit her lower lip tight, stubbornly turning her head to crawl back up. I ignored Shen Saya's discomfort, walked in and scanned everyone, introduced myself briefly. I am Shen Saya's father. Biologically speaking, her mother and I are divorced, and I don't have custody. Regarding compensation, you can discuss it with her mother. When signing, after saying that, Shen Saya looked up at me in disbelief. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw her hurriedly bow her head to wipe her eyes, moving fast as if afraid to notice. This kid, didn't she urge me and her mom to divorce when she was small? Where are these tears coming from now? Mentioning when signing, the parents looked at each other, their arrogance diminished significantly. After all, the name when signing occupies the front page of financial news all year round. There are probably very few people who don't know her. This little issue could be solved smoothly without her even showing up personally, but she insisted on throwing this at me, thinking this would awaken my fatherly love. Did she forget? Love needs to come from both sides. Even for parents, not everyone loves their children. I took a deep breath, pushing away the image of my father dragging me in my mind. The scene of being thrown into Nand Academy. Shen Saya's dad, even though you divorced Con, regarding Shen Saya hitting someone, you should still give us an explanation. I nodded. My gaze fell indifferently on Shen Saya. Why did you fight? Shen Saya stiffened her neck and refused to speak. I don't have much patience now to coax her like when she was little. If you don't want to talk, wait for your mom and tell her. I have things to do, no time to waste here with you. Before I could finish, Shen Saya was like a provoked little beast, screaming at me with red eyes. They said I have no dad. Are you happy now? Why didn't mom marry Uncle Shaming instead? He would never abandon me like you did. I hate you. I hate you. I waited for her to finish screaming, raised my eyebrows and said, when your mother and I were not divorced, you want Yi Shaming to be your dad. Screaming at me was understandable then. Now that your mother and I are divorced, whoever you want to be your dad, go find him yourself. The parents looked at each other blankly. Whispers reached my ears, so young and already inciting her parents to divorce. No wonder her dad doesn't want her. I think I've met the Yi Shaming guy. Often accompanies Con to big events. Acts very arrogant. I thought he was the rightful husband. Didn't expect him to be the other man. Shen Sai was at this age, the rebellious age. How could she bear hearing these words? She made a move to run out, but after a few steps, she backed away. Wen Signing walked over briskly with her assistant and bodyguards, her face devoid of emotion, radiating oppressive pressure. As soon as she arrived, the office felt cramped. Her cold eyes swept over everyone, speaking indifferently. What's going on? Everyone looked at each other, then looked at me. No one dared to utter a word. Shinsaya seemed very afraid of her too, standing aside with her head down, barely daring to breathe. I gave her an indifferent glance. It's good that you're here. As the child's guardian, you should handle these matters yourself. I'm leaving first. After speaking, I ignored the calls from both mother and daughter, strode out of the office. Zhu Ziwan was still waiting for me in the car. He tried to suppress his anger, opening his mouth to scold the girl as ungrateful. Why do you bother with other people's business? You don't know. After you left that year, she cried demanding Yi Shaming be her new dad, got slapped by Wen Signing, so she tried to run away from home, almost got kidnapped. Heard that Yi Shaming braved danger to save her. Those two are basically inseparable now. In the end, Zhu Ziwan and I went straight to a bar, partied hard. I quickly threw the little school incident to the back of my mind. Just didn't expect that when we stumbled out of the bar, tipsy, we bumped right into Wen Signing and her daughter. She was holding Shensaya's hand. Don't know how long they had been waiting outside. The moment she saw me, her eyes trembled slightly. Shen Xinyan, let's talk. Wen Signing is someone who won't give up until she achieves her goal. I didn't want to waste time tangling with her, so I told Zhu Ziwan to call a designated driver and go home first. I got in the car with Wen Signing and her daughter. The atmosphere in the car was incredibly heavy. I could almost hear the driver swallowing his saliva. The car finally stopped in front of a restaurant. It was the restaurant I booked for my birthday 6 years ago. 6 years ago, I invited Wen Signing to celebrate my birthday, but received no reply because she booked the whole place for Yi Shaming. I didn't even get to eat. 6 years later, she booked the whole place for me. Pity that the current me doesn't need it anymore. I sat down, straight to the point. Say what you want to say, but two things first. Transferring custody is a no, and remarriage is also a no. Wen Signing frowned, wanted to speak but stopped. Shen Saya glared at me, red eyes ready to cry, but now I won't stay up all night coaxing her just because of her whimpering cries. Finally, Wen Signing spoke first. Xinyan, if you didn't like me, why did you marry me back then? I always thought we were very compatible. You are the most standard son-in-law for the Wen family. A trace of imperceptible pain flashed in her eyes. But I sank into that memory that chilled me to the bone. Closed my eyes, trying to drive the horrifying images from my head, but it didn't work. I always have to admit, even though I've gained freedom, the past follows like a shadow. I let out a breath, then spoke slowly. If you were thrown into Nand Academy, abused daily, locked in dark rooms, tortured, and the only way for you to escape is to force you to become a housewife according to a set mold, then I guess you would agree too, right? Signing stared at me blankly, as if she did understand what I was saying. I couldn't help but laugh. You don't think that I, who was top of the grade growing up, actually disliked studying? Do you? Since I was 16, your family chose me to be trained as a son-in-law. At 18, I was dissatisfied with that arrangement, rebelled by dating early, immediately got thrown into Nand Academy. Only released on the wedding day, I still don't want to recall that memory to this day, so I have no interest in the title of your husband. Not before, and not now. It's not that I didn't think about a loving marriage before, benevolent father and filial child, but you people destroyed my hope with your own hands, also made me truly realize the Wen family is just a cage that if I didn't leave, would trap me to death forever. Now I have a new life. The best thing you can do is not bother me. As for this restaurant, that night 6 years ago, I already found it disgusting. After speaking, I did give them a chance to continue acting, stood up and walked straight out. Just reaching the door, I heard a choke sob behind me. Sorry, I didn't know you had to go through that, but I still want to ask, having thought about a loving marriage, does it prove you once liked me? Once loved me? If so, is there a possibility for us to start over? Even just a little bit? I didn't turn back, didn't answer either, walked out of the restaurant without hesitation. The next noon, my long-lost father showed up at my door. On his face was a fawning smile full of remorse. Son, where have you been all these years? Why didn't you call home? I looked at the newly grown gray hairs at his temples, couldn't describe the feeling in my heart. The man who was once strong enough to mold me at will, now has to bow his head before me. It seems everything that haunted me in the past is not invincible. Collecting my thoughts, I looked at the person in front of me, said coldly, "Here, Shen, if you have something to say it straight. No need to beat around the bush." He seemed surprised that I would use such an impudent tone. The smile on his face froze. Almost couldn't hold it. A gloomy look flashed in his eyes. Recovering his expression, "Dad, came for nothing really. Just thinking you haven't been home for years. Can you come home for a meal? While you were away, Siwen cared a lot about our family. I can see she still has feelings for you. You did discuss with the family before divorcing. This time you're back. Why don't our two families sit down and talk again? After all, You've been engaged to Seo Wen since you were 16. I heard the hidden meaning in his words. My smile grew colder. You want me to remarry Wen signing? Right? He nodded repeatedly, in those shrewd but murky eyes, revealed calculation again. I couldn't help sneering. What benefits did the Wen family promise you this time? Resources or cooperative projects? If the Shen family only relies on selling their son to survive, it's better to go bankrupt soon and be done with it. My words showed no respect. He couldn't hold the smile anymore. Gone for a few years, and you think you're all grown up? Is that how you talk to your father? If some blabbermouth hadn't told Wen signing about me throwing you into Nand Academy, she wouldn't have suddenly withdrawn investment from us. Overnight, my market value evaporated by half. Today, no matter what, you must come meet her with me, he said and tried to grab my arm. I shook his hand off. This rotting meat called the Shen family. It's time to dispose of it. 1 hour later, in the living room of the Wen ancestral home, I met Wen Signing and her daughter again. I ignored them, found a seat directly, and sat down. Wen Signing hesitated for a moment, looked at me and spoke. Sinian, I came today. Hearing that, I glanced at her, cut her off. Why you came? You don't need to tell me. As for me, it's best if you don't appear. Wen Signing's eyes dimmed slightly after a long while. She sighed. I don't mean to force you. She didn't get a chance to finish. This time my father interrupted. He smiled, pulled out a bottle of fine wine, and put it on the table, pretending to enthusiastically welcome Wen Signing and her daughter. Come, taste this rare wine I collected. Sinian has been impulsive since childhood. I scolded him already. Now that his back, it's to live happily with Seo Wen. I think we should pick a lucky date later and hold the wedding again. He was obsequious, filling Wen Signing's glass. Perhaps in his eyes, I was never his son, but just an accessory tool for exchanging benefits. In short, never an independent human being, but Wen Signing, in her superior position, remained unresponsive. He couldn't help but probe again. Seo Wen, I know 6 years ago this kid divorced you on his own. You have anger in your heart. The remarriage ceremony certainly can't be flashy. If you don't want to hold it, then don't. Just take him back. What do you think? But answering him wasn't Wen Signing. It was the Wen family's main door suddenly bursting open. What do I think? What era is this? Still playing arranged marriage games and daring to poach from my Ministry of Foreign Affairs? Blue Shield bodyguards pushed in. Immediately after, cold-faced old man walked in. Though advanced in age, hair turned white, his aura was not to be underestimated. Eyes sharp as a hawk. The Wen family, the only merchants, also knew what kind of figures the Blue Shield bodyguards protected. In an instant, the atmosphere in the Wen house sank. My father hurried forward to flatter. Sir Leader, don't know what wind blew you here. Your presence in this humble abode truly brings honor to this small courtyard. The old man huffed coldly, eyes sharp as ice knives glancing at him. The 1950 marriage law abolished arranged marriages. Yet today you forced a comrade from our Ministry of Foreign Affairs here and arbitrarily arranged a marriage for him? Do you want to go against history? Just a few short sentences froze my father in place. Not only my father. Everyone present who knew me stared at the old man in shock. What comrade of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs? This is a family party. Why would someone from the ministry be here? You are joking nicely. The old chief didn't bother with him, just smiled kindly at me. Little Shen, come here. Seeing the old man look at me, my father became even more suspicious, even showing contempt on his face. Sir Leader, you aren't mistaken. Are you? My son didn't even attend university. How could he be from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs? He's just a house husband, demanded a divorce years ago, ran away from home. Please don't. Before he finished, Blue Shield bodyguards rushed up and restrained him. I stood up amidst everyone's astonished gazes, walked over to the old man, voice full of apology. Chief, I'm really sorry to trouble you to come here for my family matters. Before being taken by my father, I messaged Yu Ziwan, who is also a diplomat. This old man is a high-ranking leader of the ministry. The old man waved his hand unconcernedly. Can't say that. You are an excellent comrade of the ministry, young and talented, fluent in 5 languages, with great working ability. Whoever forces you to be a house husband, I'll be the first to disagree. Freedom of love and marriage. The organization will naturally support fully, but arranged marriage is absolutely unacceptable. Comrade Little Shen, I'm ending your family visit, leave early. You have no objections, right? I shook my head, smiled and replied, of course no objections. I've long looked forward to returning to my post. The old man nodded. A white-plated red flag car drove straight into the Wen gate, followed by several police cars. I saw the chief to the back seat of the red flag car, just closed the door, saw officers step out of the police car showing badges to my dad. According to investigation, the Nand Academy you sent Shen Xinyan to has engaged in imprisonment, abuse, mental manipulation and other illegal acts. Please come with us to assist in the investigation. My father cried out injustice loudly, but no one cared. The family party broke up unhappily. I was about to get in the car to leave with the chief. Suddenly a choke call came from behind. Dad! My hand on the car door tightened instinctively. The chief turned to look at me. Nodded. Diplomacy is unlike other jobs, stationed abroad all year round. Opportunities to meet family are already rare. Some things should be handled early. After speaking, the chief left first. I turned to look at Wen Signing and her daughter. Shen Sai held her mother's hand tightly, looking at me with tear-filled eyes. She hiccuped, stubbornly raising her head, seemingly trying to hold back the tears. Do you really not want to be my dad anymore? Do you really not need me anymore? Mom and I have missed you a lot these years. I often see Mom in the study, staring blankly at your photo. Those words before were because I didn't know better. Can you forgive me? Dad, can you love me one more time? I looked at her, suddenly felt a bit sad. My child after all. To say I don't love her at all, don't feel pain is impossible. But how can I allow what I gave birth to become a sharp knife stabbing me? Lonely and helpless in the Wen house, my own flesh and blood stood on the opposite side without hesitation. The current me can let go. I cannot speak for my past self to offer forgiveness. I looked at her calmly and gently spoke. The time I spent with you wasn't long. In those scarce 3 years, you spent a year and a half without full awareness of this world, in diapers babbling. Every day I held you, constantly teaching you to speak, but you probably don't remember much. Later you had a vague understanding of the world. You started to feel I wasn't good enough. Compared to me being your father, you hoped to call someone else dad even more, even if you were just an innocent child. My heartbreak in that moment was not fake. 6 years after that, I was absent from your growth and never cared about educating you. Logically speaking, I have no right to criticize or teach you anything. But today, I still want to tell you a principle. This is probably the last thing I can teach you in this life, that people must take responsibility for their words and their actions. Even if you are just a child, the excuse of being just a child doesn't merit forgiveness. After saying that, a miserable scream came from behind. Dad, I know I was wrong. Don't go. Please don't go. My steps paused, but eventually didn't stop. Call me cold-blooded if you want, even if it is irresponsible, or no matter how others judge me. I have already given Shen Saya the best of everything. Being with Wen Signing, she will receive the best education. The care and love she receives won't be any less. In the future, she will inherit the entire Wen family legacy. The finish line in Rome that others dream of is merely her starting line. What she possesses is far more than she can imagine. Losing a father, perhaps it will cause an influence. That is irreparable to her growth process. But if I stay just so she has a father, then what I trade away would be my entire life. But fortunately, I have now successfully become myself. In this world, there must be someone who loves me. Right? If there is no one else, then that person is myself. Thinking of this, the corners of my mouth lifted in a relieved smile. My steps leaving the Wen family home became faster. The day I returned to Finland, Wen Signing came to the airport to see me off. She didn't ask again if we could remarry, or anything like if there was still a chance. She just quietly looked at me for a long while before proposing a hypothesis that was completely impossible. Sinian, if we could start over, I would definitely cherish you properly. Not like now, regretting it too late after losing you. I thought you would stay by my side forever. I just didn't expect that. Everything I did never once made you feel happy. Sinian, truly sorry. I didn't answer her. I just looked up at the flight information board. Last time, you also saw me off, didn't you? It's just that back then, we didn't say goodbye properly. Wen Signing, this time, let's say goodbye to each other properly. The word goodbye seemed to sting Wen Signing's nerves. Her eyebrows trembled, her eyes revealing a suffocating sorrow. Is it possible? Her lips quivered, hesitating for a long time. Unable to complete the sentence, I stood in front of her, opening my arms wide towards her. Don't be so sad. We lived together for a while. After all, I can be considered an old friend who understands you. Right? Give me a hug. As soon as I finished speaking, Wen Signing hugged me very tightly. Her arms kept tightening, as if wanting to embed me into her marrow. Seeing that, I sighed and raised my hand to gently pat Wen Signing's back. Her shoulders were trembling violently, making it a bit hard for me to breathe too. When I opened my mouth, my voice was choked with emotion. Please pay more attention to Sayo in the future. If you meet someone suitable, then start a new family. Remember to treat him a bit better. Wen Signing hugged me even tighter. She shook her head. A cold drop of water fell onto my neck. I couldn't help but sigh. Fate really knows how to tease people sometimes. I thought Wen Signing had no feelings for me, so I left decisively and with relief. I thought my departure was the best solution for everyone's difficult situation. I gained freedom. Wen Signing found love. Shen Sai got the father she liked. Yi Shamin also got his wish. Who knew that in the end, it would all be missed opportunities. Perhaps this relationship, for Wen Signing, is also a regret. Isn't it? She leaned close to my ear, her voice hoarse. I'm very sad. I've never hugged you seriously like this before. In that moment, my eyes grew hot. But then I smiled with relief. I let go of her. It doesn't matter anymore. Wen Signing, we both have to move on. Don't look back. She grabbed my hand, staring into my eyes. Extremely serious. I won't have any other new husband. Saya will also forever have only one father, and that is you. I know the past hurt you deeply. You don't want to forgive us, but Sayo and I will both wait for you. If one day you want to see us, then just tell me. No matter where I am, I will definitely bring Sayo to appear before you immediately. Shen Xinyan, my door is forever open for you. Before she finished speaking, a small figure rushed out from behind a pillar in the airport. Shen Sayo, eyes red, choked out, "Dad, I know I was wrong. I will wait for you. I will wait for you to agree to be my dad again." I squatted down, just like the countless times I comforted her when she was small. I gently wiped the tears from her face. "I'm sorry, Saya. I can't stay by your side forever and fulfill the responsibilities of a father anymore, but I am forever your dad. This is undoubtable. No one can change that, but before becoming a father, I have to be myself first." At this moment, the airport announcement rang out, reminding me to board the plane. I stood up and patted Shen Saya's head one last time. I looked up at Wynn's signing, "Take her home." Saying that, I picked up the small suitcase beside me and walked towards the boarding gate. The plane soared into the clouds, the whole city under the lights connected into grids of light. I finally realized I have left again. Perhaps the bond of blood will still give us countless opportunities to meet, but my choice will never change. The road ahead is still very long, but I must always live well as myself first.